So moving ahead, our next session on preventing transmission of COVID-19 in hemodialysis, hygiene and infection control. It will be the pre-recorded session coming to us from Taiwan by Dr. Kuan-Yu with experience spanning over 2 decades. Hung graduated with highest rank from medical school of National Taiwan University.
Different color, department, different color, urology, gynec. So different color also.
Please mute, please. Yeah. He also hold an MBA in finance and master degree from College of Management. And Dr. Hung received numerous awards for his basic and clinical studies on renal disease as well as peritoneal fibrosis. He was executive investigator in several clinical trials. And for his distinguished academic contributions, Dr. Hung was honorably elected to be in the electoral board of the Blood Purification, a famous and official journal of International Society of Blood Purification. Hung also served as a chief editor of Journal of Healthcare Quality. And welcome to you, sir. Please play the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Professor Kuan-Yu from the National Taiwan University, and I'm very glad to have this chance to share with you our experience of preventing the transmission of COVID-19 in the hemodialysis unit. Hemodialysis patients are vulnerable to viral infections. That is because their immunity are impaired, and they are gathered within the narrow spaces when they are receiving the hemodialysis. So what's the policy and how we prevent the possible or secondary transmission of COVID-19 in our hemodialysis unit? There are 3 parts. Number 1, you may check the infrastructure and the organization of your healthcare team and your hemodialysis unit. We believe that a very suitable infrastructure can offer more than just a better working places. Your organization culture is also important as well. Both these factors can help to shape and surviving the coming threat of COVID-19 for your hemodialysis unit. Let's show you why it is so important. This is the layout and the floor plan of our hemodialysis center. We know that Taiwan is high endemic areas for viral hepatitis. So just before the outbreak of COVID-19, we have for the long term designed our hemodialysis unit for a better management of patient flow and to prevent the transmission of viral hepatitis within our unit. As you can see here, it can be divided into 2 large rooms with separate patient entries, one for the inpatient and the other for the outpatient. Each room is further divided into 4 or 6 clusters of regions, including 1 isolation area at each room. The isolation area is for taking care of patients with possible contaminations. And at every bedside, we have protocols and alcohols for the hand hygiene. And our hemodialysis staff are assigned to work with patients in specific areas to minimize any cross-talkings and walk-ins. We will apply the regular auditing to ensure that our staff and the patients can adhere to these infection control regulations. In case there is any outbreak of any infectious event or the adverse event, we will conduct a continued quality improvement and a root cause analysis to find out the potential risk and to try to fix our protocols. The alignment of evidence-based nursing practice and the infrastructures of our hemodialysis unit can support a great organization culture and maintain our capability to continue operation even during the COVID-19 crisis. What I listed here is part of our previous work, which we published about 30 years ago, and we are telling the story to the whole world. This is a story about how we successfully protect viral hepatitis transmissions in our hemodialysis unit. Through this learning journey that we have been practiced for over 3 decades, it has become a very strong culture. This is a culture of patient safety. It includes an adequate environmental design and the staff and the patient educations about the importance of hand hygiene. And we have built up a protocols for the infection control, and we apply the regular auditing. All these quality improvement activities can ensure that our patients and caregivers all together under a safe patient safety culture. So based on these advantages, the next question will be, do we still need a new guideline? And can we just learn from the past experience to meet the future any new challenges? Can we just count on this environmental design and infection control programs to prevent the COVID-19 transmission in the hemodialysis unit? Since the outbreak of the COVID-19, the Taiwan Society of Nephrology has constructed a task force to develop a clinical practice guideline to prevent transmission of COVID-19 in the hemodialysis facilities. The purpose of this guideline was to protect our patients, our medical staff, and the healthcare givers from the secondary transmission of this life-threatening virus. The guideline is also a consensus of Taiwan CDC and the Taiwan Society of Nephrology. I have marked the website here, or you can scan the QR code to see its detail. It is written in Chinese, so I will quickly go through and give you a briefing. The first part is about the general rules. It is fundamentals, and we suggest every hemodialysis unit to set the similar regulation and to observe its adherence. This guideline, although fundamental regulation, can help to identify high-risk individuals. The general principles are gate control and to limit accompanied patients or their families. We suggest closing or lockdown of the waiting area, so the patients are advised just to come in a limited reserved time, so we can ask about their TOCC and to take their body temperature record. And we encourage the speak up of the patients about their individual health conditions at home. We conduct cleaning standard procedures and isolation policies for patients with possible screening result, waiting about the PCR final result. And we will have a regular auditing of our staff about hand hygiene and the personal protection equipment. The second part is about the protection of our staff. To guarantee that we may have the enough capability or the manpower to serve the patients, we adopt the flexible working schedule and allow our staff to take turns at alternatives. We encourage the self-report and the daily report about their health conditions, and we provide timely vaccination for our staff, and we provide adequate personal protection equipment. The third part is about the protection of hemodialysis patients. As I show you here, I won't go into the detail, but there are two key points that I would like to remind you. The first, for the symptomatic patients who are waiting for the final PCR result, these patients will be treated as positive ones. And for any positive patients, they should be admitted to the medical ward, and the direct session will be temporarily postponed or will be performed at a separate isolation rooms, not in the dialysis unit. And the second one, we do not recommend a regular screening for all the patients unless they are officially declared as living in the hot zone. Who has the authority to declare any individual as living at the hot zone? It is conducted by the CDC. So for the most of the conditions, a weekly screening for all the patients and the caregivers is enough. And all these cases with suspicious ones needs to be confirmed by PCR testing. There are other guidelines and more, as I show you here, that you may find them at our CDC website. It can help for about the hand hygiene and about for the environmental cleaning. Again, it's written in Chinese, but personally, I found it's concise and easy to implement. So perhaps you may translate and compare with it your own. Let's now quickly move to the last part about the new norm. We know that we got it aware that COVID-19 pandemic has changed the way that we deliver our health care. And finally, I believe that the pandemic will eventually vanish or become part of us. And during the COVID-19 crisis, we did propose the new process and significant design to ensure safer healthcare system for continued patient care. These are including the new way to promote the health literacy, not limited to the COVID-19 preparations. And we have applied the remote consultation for our patients. We apply the digital technologies. So after the pandemic, we are now taking actions to redesign our healthcare process. We apply the concept of lean thinking to consider which process to eliminate and how to combine the process between old ones and the new ones, or to rearrange these process to make it simple to implement and make it sustainable. We are now learning and we are looking forward to further collaboration with you in the near future. This is the next slide, and my conclusion is COVID-19 has reshaped the future and make our health system changed. So how to guarantee that we can have a continued working or a continued improvement about healthcare unit? I think the important factors are patient safety cultures, and we can apply the innovations, the digitalization of telemedicine to meet the future need. And in our center, we are now applying the new thinking to try to redesign or to combine the healthcare process to give a new normal. Thank you for your attention. And we are really hoping to have the chance to meet you face in face in the near future, that we can collaborate and to create new methods to have a better management of our patients. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hung. It was a wonderful session.